Hello, welcome everyone. You're in Medbay. So as you can see from the title, I'm one of the immunisers working in one of the mass vaccination centres in UK. Currently we're rolling out COVID-19 vaccines, and this video I'm just going to be discussing about what it is like to be a COVID-19 immuniser, why I started and how it's basically going. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So as you would already know, I'm a third year medical student, and when I was in my second year, that's when COVID pandemic hit and nobody knew what was actually happening. So in March, when they announced the lockdown, everybody thought, well, me and my friends thought it was just going to be a couple of weeks and then we're going to get straight back into a second year and everything. But then it went on for the whole year and we stopped second year and that was it. So during the first wave, when everybody didn't know what was happening, many of the medical students in their clinical years, they were able to help in some sort of way. They were able to go into the wards. Some of the final year medical students even actually started working early to help out in the pandemic because of the need for medical staff and healthcare professionals at that time. But being in the second year, not having enough clinical experience, it was very hard to be of some use. So like me, many of the second years, they were really desperate to help in some way or another. So when we started third year, there was still the second wave of COVID-19 and there was still national lockdown. And that was when they started rolling out the COVID-19 vaccines. So there were many rumors, many questions and uncertainty around these vaccines because they were just being rolled out, and as you can see, they were new, so there weren't many prior research. It was all completely new and everybody had their questions and everybody had their concerns. So that applied to us as well as medical students. We were one of the first people to get them as well, after the frontline workers, with many other medical staff. The medical students also got their vaccinations. So that's how I got my vaccine. So it's around then, after we had our vaccines, was when the mass vaccination centres were recruiting medical students, their nursing students, nursing staff and some healthcare professionals to come and work in the mass vaccination centres so that we can roll out the vaccines as fast as we can and get loads of people vaccinated as quick as possible. And at that time, whether we knew much about it or not, it seemed like the only way out of this pandemic. There's recurring waves of COVID-19, different variants coming around. And so I still work as an immuniser, COVID-19 immuniser. And so let's now talk about what it is like and what will you do being an immuniser. So obviously you have your training before you start, you get your training. So you get trained on how to give IM injections. There's a lot of online tutorials that you have to complete and modules that you have to complete, which gives you extensive information about each of the vaccines. So the main vaccines that we give out in the mass vaccination centres that I work in are AstraZeneca and Pfizer, mainly Pfizer. And so you learned about how it's made, what are its side effects, any risks, any contraindications, and also like basic life support training. So we had all these trainings, and after that we got to practice on people and got assessed. Once we've passed all the assessments, that's when we could officially start vaccinating people. So let's talk about a 12-hour shift. So in a 12-hour shift, you go in early in the morning and you get a briefing. They tell you about any updates and to the regulations, any issues that they've been having or things you need to keep in mind. So every morning you have a briefing.
You have a separate room for pharmacists to drop the vaccinations and get everything ready.
And they get their vaccine done and you give them a vaccine card with the details. What I really loved about working as an immuniser is meeting so many people. The age ranges from 18-year-olds to 70, 80-year-olds, and they all have their own stories and they're all different, and it's just so refreshing to meet so many people, especially after a series of lockdowns and not being able to meet people outside your bubble, and one step closer to normality. So to think that I'm doing my part in helping people feel better and helping the society get back to normality is also a good feeling. that I enjoy by being an immuniser. I'm actually actively doing something to help with the situations. Also, being an immuniser, you get the updates about the vaccines and you get to know a little bit more about what's actually going on. So with the stigma, with the questions, with the concerns and the rumours around, to be a person that people actually trust and to help clear any queries and any concerns that they might have. So in that way, helping people have a peace of mind, that's also a good thing about being an immuniser. Okay, so things that are not particularly amazing about being an immuniser is sometimes the shifts, they're really long, especially I put myself in that situation. If I go for 12-hour shifts, they're long and they're really long and it can be so tiring. So that's not so fun. You just work and work. Like you go to another person, and because the queue is so big, you just feel under pressure. Like you have to just get everything right. You have to make sure you don't miss anything out. You have to make sure that the person's safe, you're safe, and they're not having an adverse reaction. If they are, then you need to deal with it. And then also you have to keep the pace up because you don't want it to be like a backlog or anything. So everybody's just working hard and hard. Sometimes you just get a bit lost. Like, have I said this piece of information to this person? Have I properly explained this? Have I asked them the correct questions? Or was that the person before? Because you see so many people, like every 3 minutes sometimes, then it just feels like it's all a blur. So that can happen as well sometimes, and is not the most fun aspect of being an immuniser. Sometimes you can get mean supervisors. So obviously, because I'm a non-registrant immuniser, you do have supervisors who look over you and you go to any help if you need any help, or generally to a supervisor who shift then, so they're always there. And some supervisors, they can be a bit mean. They can take their frustration out on you, and so that's not very fun either. I've had incidents where they've been very patronizing, or so that's not very pleasant either to work with. But generally everybody's really nice, everybody's really supportive, and it's a very positive environment to work in, and everybody feels like they belong there and they're doing something good. So it's generally a positive place. There's always this question, like, am I actually doing good? But like me, so many other people who are also working like these 12-hour shifts to try and get as many vaccines out to the citizens of the country. It's to try and save many people's lives, and also in the hope that only good things will come from these vaccines. So that's basically what it is like for me being an immuniser. And if I didn't miss anything out, then I will update you guys in another video. But otherwise, thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to like and comment below, and share this with your friends, and remember to subscribe to our channel. We're releasing videos every Sunday. Thank you. Bye.